Today we will discuss about capital budgeting. Sometimes it is also known as project decision or project appraisal or project decision making. So basically under the capital budgeting we study the different methods used to evaluate capital budgets, or you can say capital expenditure budget. So first of all, we'll discuss what is capital budget. Capital budget is the budget of capital expenditure, and capital expenditure means those expenditure which provide benefit to us for a longer period of time or whose benefits spread in number of years. For example, purchase of plant and machinery, land and buildings, starting a new factory, plants, etc. These can be called as a capital expenditure. So basically capital budget is budget of capital expenditure. So capital budgeting is one of the technique of the financial management, we can say. Capital budgeting is the planning process for allocating all expenditure that will have an expected benefit to the firm for more than 1 year. And basically capital budgeting is one of the technique which helps us for choosing the most appropriate project, you can say most economical, most rational project we can choose with the help of capital budgeting techniques. As I told you earlier, capital budgeting is also known as project decision or project decision making techniques, you can say. Under the capital budgeting we take project decision making techniques. This is also known as investment appraisal. So here we are taking why there's a need of investment appraisal. Firm normally place project in the following categories. First of all, when we have to replace or maintain old or damaged equipment, so there may be their amount may be required in lakhs, may be there, crores may be there. So definitely either to replace or maintain that one, that is the that may be huge amount decision. So that can be taken under the investment appraisal or capital budgeting. Investment to upgrade or replace existing equipment. Again, in the case of investment to upgrade or replace existing equipment, that decision will not be smaller in amount, that may be huge in amount. So that can be the part of investment decision or investment appraisal. Marketing investment to expand product lines or distribution facility. If company wants to add new products in the product lines may be there, or expand distribution facilities may be there, again there may be need of huge capital expenditure, and these expenditure must be taken very carefully, and that's why there's a need of capital budgeting, or you can say there's a need to prepare capital budget. Further, for government compliances, there may be need to set up some instruments may be there, or to make investment may be there. So definitely again in this case there may be need of investment appraisal. So ultimately we are taking here the four conditions we have discussed, or four categories we have taken where investment appraisal may be required, but ultimate purpose is that one, that we have to choose that machinery, equipment, etc., where we can get maximum benefit, or we can provide maximum benefit to owners or shareholders. Overall aim. What is the overall aim of our capital budgeting? To maximize shareholders' wealth. Ultimately company is owned by the shareholders, and to maximize their wealth is the prime motto of capital budgeting, or you can say investment decision, or you can say investment appraisal. And project should give a return over the above marginal weighted cost of capital, and we have to select that project whose return is greater than marginal weighted average cost of capital. Average cost of capital, so cost of capital is basically the cost associated with sources of finance company is using, and weighted average cost of capital means the weighted average of different sources of finance used by the company. So our returns must be greater than the returns received from project must be greater than marginal weighted average cost of capital. There are two type of projects: mutually exclusive and independent. Independent project are those project the acceptance or rejection of that one does not depend upon any project, whereas mutually exclusive projects are those projects whose acceptance and rejection depends upon other projects. Ideal selection method. The number of methods are there under the capital budgeting, but in the ideal method of capital budgeting there should be the following features. Select the project that maximize shareholders wealth. Method must be able to maximize shareholders value and must be take into account all the cash flows throughout life. If project having life 10 years, so all 10 years cash flow must be taken by that method. Discount the cash flow at appropriate market determined opportunity cost of capital. Yes, it is very important part, because capital budgeting decisions are taken at the present period, but definitely cash flow are related to the future. It means if any project we are going to undertake today, so whatever amount we are investing, that we will invest today, what the cash flow or you can say returns, that will come in future. So that is the amount which we are receiving or returns. These returns having future value, and that future value need to be converted into the present value. And for calculating present value, the future value or future cash flow must be discounted with appropriate discount rate, so that the future value or future cash flow can be converted into the present value. So we will have two type of things: present value of investment, present value of future cash flow, and decision can be taken easily. Need for investment appraisal, or you can say what are the significance of capital budgeting. Large amount of resources are involved and wrong decision could be costly. As I told you, capital budgeting deal with capital expenditure, and capital expenditure involve huge amount in lakhs, crores may be there. So if we are taking wrong decision, we have to suffer for many years. And in fact, in this case, capital budgeting helps us. Capital budgeting helps us to take the most appropriate investment decision, most fruitful investment decision, which can maximize shareholders value. Difficult and expensive to reverse. Definitely capital budgeting decisions are very difficult and expensive to reverse. We cannot reverse. For example, if we have set up plant and machinery of crores, but later on we realized that this is not the right investment and we want to reverse. So if we are going for reverse, then we have to suffer huge losses may be there, and that's why it is very difficult and expensive to reverse. Investment decisions have direct impact on the objectives. So we having certain objective, maximization of shareholders value may be there. These objectives will be get fulfilled through investment decision. But if we are taking wrong investment decision, then our objectives will not be get fulfilled. But if we are taking rational, economical investment decision, then our objective can be easily get fulfilled. So definitely for realizing objective, there is a need of investment appraisal, or there is a need of a capital budgeting. Investment appraisal process or capital budgeting process. First of all, we are taking different stages. Identify objective. What is it within the corporate objectives? First of all, we have to identify our objective, why we are going for the capital budgeting or investment appraisal. Identify alternative. There may be number of alternative. There, for example, we have to purchase a machine to manufacture X product. So that X product can be manufactured with the help of machine A, machine B, and machine C, or machine D may be there, or number of alternatives may be there. So these alternatives you have to identify. Then we have to collect and analyze data, examine the technical and economic feasibility of project and cash flows. Technical feasibility you have to check. Economic feasibility we are taking here, that how much amount will be involved and in how many years that amount will be recovered or payback by that project may be there. So cash flow, we have to estimate cash flows and we have to estimate in how many years amount invested today will be recovered back by the entity or company. Decide which one to undertake. After evaluating different projects, we have to choose one, decide which one to undertake. Authorize and implementation will be there, then that will be authorize and implementation. Last one is review and monitor. Under the review and monitor, we have to see whatever we have I mean say planning, or what we expected actually that we are getting returns from that project or not. If we are getting returns as per the planning, as per the expectation, then it's good. If we are not getting returns or we are not getting returns as per the expectation, then there may be need for modifications may be there, and whatever we will have the experience at that time, that may be beneficial for future endeavor. Now we are taking the most important part of capital budgeting, that is the different methods which we are using for evaluating the projects. So first two technique we are taking: accounting rate of return and payback method. These are the traditional technique. Traditional technique or old technique. Why we call old technique? Because these technique do not take into consideration time value of money. They say what is the value of rupee today, that will also remain after 1 year, 2 year, 3 year or 5 year, and that's why there's no need to discount future cash flow with appropriate rate of return, appropriate cost of capital to obtain the present value of future cash flows. So they do not discount the future cash flow with appropriate discount rate to obtain the present value of them. Whereas technique number 3 and technique number 4, these are the modern technique, and these technique take into consideration time value of money, and that's why these technique discount the future money or future cash flow with appropriate discount rate to obtain the present value of future cash flows. First of all, we are taking accounting rate of return. Accounting rate of return method relate average annual profit to either amount initially invested or the average investment. Basically, we can say accounting rate of return is calculated by taking accounting profit, which is easily available from the accounting books, and we have to take number of years profit, and then we have to obtain average of that one. Average profit, average annual accounting profit divided by average investment. Here question arises how to get the average investment. Average investment will be taken initial capital investment plus scrap value divided by 2. The scrap value means solvent value, the value of machinery or plant and machinery. Plants and machinery you have purchased after 10 years, that will have the scrap value. That scrap value will be estimated in advance. So in initial investment that will be added, and initial investment plus scrap value and then divided by 2. And average annual profit will be calculated, total profit divided by number of year. Here is one of the example we are taking here. Here we having profit of 6 years. 6 plus 8 plus 11 plus 13 plus 16 plus 18. So these profits we have to add, and cost of a project is 1 lakh. So definitely Solvay's value is 0. So average investment will come 50,000. But we need to calculate average profit. 6 plus 8 plus 11 plus 13 plus 16 plus 18 divided by 6. So total profit of 6 years is coming 72,000. 72,000 divided by 6 is coming 12,000. Average investment is coming 1 lakh divided by 250,000, and accounting rate of return is coming 24%. 24%. Here question arises that how to evaluate project by using accounting rate of return. If in the case of independent project, independent means single project, there's no competitor project is there, rival project is there. So in that case, if your accounting rate of return is greater than cost of capital, you will accept that project. But in the case of mutually exclusive project, mutually exclusive means there are many projects, and out of many we have to accept only one, mutually exclusive. So in the case of mutually exclusive, we have to accept only one. And how decision making will be made? By using accounting rate of return. The project which will have highest ARR, accounting rate of return, that project will be accepted, other will be rejected. And we are taking advantages and disadvantages. This method having certain advantage. This method do not take into consideration time value of money. So there's no need to find out present value of future cash flow. So it is very easy. This method is easy to understand. How to accept or reject? Simply you have to compare accounting rate of return with cost of capital. So accordingly you can decide accept or reject project. This method is based upon accounting profit. Accounting profit are easily available from the accounting books, that's net profit. So definitely this method is very easy. And as regard to disadvantages, there are number of disadvantages of this method are there, because this is traditional technique. This method does not take into consideration time value of money, and that's why this method do not discount. This method does not discount the future cash flows with appropriate discount rate. One. Second, this method is based upon profit, but profit is one of the big item, because in the profit we also add non-cash incomes and we also subtract non-cash expenses. So it is better to take cash flow. Cash flow means actually cash generated from business, which is ignored by this method. So this is one of the disadvantages of this method. Another method we are taking here, payback method, payback period method. And payback period is that period in which initial investment will pay back itself. Initial investment will pay back itself. For example, if we are investing 1 lakh today, so in how many years this 1 lakh will be returned back? If every year we are expecting 20,000, so payback period will come 5 years. 1 lakh divided by 20,000. So after 5 years your 1 lakh will be recovered back. In this example, LBS invest 30,000 UK pound, and in every year 9,000 will be obtained as a cash flow. So it is easily we can get payback period 30,000 divided by 9,000, 3.33 years. But in the case this is applicable for the applicable for that investment project which will have the equal cash flows in future period. If there are unequal cash flows, then this method will be applied. First of all, that I would like to tell you, here we have not to use net income or net profits, we have to use cash flows. And what is the cash flow? Cash flow basically, cash flow is calculated. Net income is that I told you, for obtaining net income or net profit we subtract non-cash expenses as well as cash expenses. We also take cash incomes as well as non-cash incomes, but for obtaining cash flow we take into consideration both type of thing. For obtaining cash flow we subtract only non-cash expenses and we take into account only cash incomes. So only cash incomes will be taken and cash expenses will be subtracted, and that must be related to the business operation. So if you have already obtained net income, so you can easily convert that one into the cash flow. How? Net प्रॉफिट में आप नॉन कैश एक्सपेंसेस को ऐड कर देंगे. यू हैव टू ऐड नॉन कैश एक्सपेंसेस, फॉर एग्जांपल डेप्रिसिएशन. In this particular question, just you assume depreciation is 20,000. So 6,000 is your net income. 20 plus 6, 26,000. 8,000 for second year. So 8,000 plus 20,000, 28,000. Similarly, 11,000 plus 20,000, 31,000. So there is a depreciation of 20,000, 20,000. This we have already subtracted, but in fact that does not result in outflow of cash, and that's why we have added back to the cash flow. Now we have to go for cumulative cash flow. Cumulative cash flow, we are taking 26 plus 28. For first year, cumulative cash flow is 26,000. For second year, 26 plus 28, 54,000. Then 54,000 plus 31,000 is 85,000. 85,000 plus 33,000, 1,18,000. 1,18,000 plus 36,000, 1,54,000. 1,54,000 plus 18,000, 1,72,000. But you keep in mind, under the payback period, we are interested for cash flow equal to 1 lakh. It means when 1 lakh will be recovered back, then that will be your payback period. So here formula we are going to apply. Our 1 lakh will be recovered back between third and fourth year. Third and fourth year. This is the third year and this is the fourth year. So till third year we have already recovered 85,000 and required cash flow is 15,000. So you have to take 3 plus required cash flow. आपको 1 लाख रिकवर करना था, 1 लाख में से 85,000 ऑलरेडी रिकवर हो गया है. सो रिक्वायर्ड कैश फ्लो इज 15,000. 3 plus 15,000 divided by subsequent years cumulative cash flow minus the years cumulative cash flow, or otherwise you can take here that 33 or minus 30, you can say 33 minus 31, you have to recover out of 33,000 you have to recover 15,000. Out of 33,000 you have to recover this one. So it means otherwise what you can do, 3 plus 15,000 divided by 33,000. आपको 15,000 रिकवर करना from the 33,000. If you will differentiate 1,18,000 minus 85,000, again 33 will come, and otherwise you can take this 33,000. So here your payback period is coming 3.45 years. Now what are the first I am going to tell you how project will be accepted or rejected. In the case of single project, independent project, if your payback period of project, if payback period of project is less than the standard payback period. Standard payback period means you have already determined that payback period should be 4 years, but actual payback period is coming 3 years. Yes, you can accept. But if payback period is coming more than 4 years, so definitely project will be rejected. Similarly, in the case of mutually exclusive projects, the project which will have lowest payback period, that project will be accepted. And what are the advantages and disadvantages? This method is again very easy to understand. Very easy to understand. That is a payback period is that period when initial investment will pay back itself. This method ignores the cash flows after the payback period. It take into consideration decision making is based upon the when your initial investment will pay back itself. This method is based upon cash flow as compared to previous method. Previous method was based upon the accounting profit. Accounting profit is vague concept, but cash flow is very important for us, so it is based upon the cash flow. That's again another merit is there. But if we take demerit of payback period, then we are taking number of demerits are there or disadvantages are there. It ignores time value of money. First one, it does not take into consideration cost of capital for investment. Decision may be there, and estimation of cash flow may be difficult task, and cash flow may not be easily available, because accounting profit is easily available from the accounting books, but cash flow, there's need for conversion. Now we are moving to take here modern technique. So under the modern technique, first of all, we have to take here the meaning of present value. First of all, we are taking future value. Future value, just like a compounded interest we are taking here. It is the formula for compounded interest. The present value into 1 plus r raised to power n. R in the percentage form, compounding, finding f value. But this future value need to be converted into the present value. So present value can be converted in this way. Present value is equal to future value divided by 1 plus r raised to power n. So if you have to calculate present value first year, then you have to take future value divided by 1 plus r raised to power 1. Similarly, future value of second year divided by 1 plus r raised to power 2, and so on. Here R is expected rate of return or required rate of return. Present value, what is the present value? The amount of money you must invest or lend at the present time so as to end up with a particular amount of money in future. Discounting, finding the present value of future cash flow. As I told you, whatever returns will come, cash flow will come, that will come in future, and there is need to convert that future cash flow into the present value, and that's why discounting is required, because money earned today is worth more than that will earn tomorrow. रुपए की वैल्यू आज ज़्यादा है कल के मुकाबले, तो if you are getting 30,000 in second year or at the end of first year, so today's amount 25,000 may be equal to the 30,000 that you will obtain at the end of first year or at the end of second year. आपको फर्स्ट ईयर के एंड में 30,000 मिलेगा या 35,000 सेकंड ईयर के एंड में मिलेगा, उसकी आज क्या वैल्यू होगी, आज उसकी वैल्यू आपको डिस्काउंट करके निकालनी पड़ेगी. So net present value is the difference between present value of cash inflows or future cash inflows minus present value of cash outflow, or you can say investment. It is the difference between the present value of cash inflows minus present value of cash outflows. Here we can see NPV, we are taking CF1, CF2, CF3, CFN. So we are taking here, this is up to CFN. We are taking here first CF1 upon 1 plus R present value of first year cash flow, second year cash flow, third year cash flow, and n number of cash flow. So we are taking present value of future cash flows minus I0. I0 stand for investment in zero period, present period, and difference of that one is known as a NPV. So here is the one question. A company can purchase machine by spending 2200 UK pound, and this machine is expected to give cash flow for 3 years, and first year 770 UK pound, second year 968 UK pound, and third year 1331 UK pound. Here discounting rate is 10%. So we are calculating a net present value. So here we have obtained 770 is discounted. How? 770 divided by 1 plus R raised to power n, and this discounting factor is basically coming 1 upon 1 plus R. 1 upon 1 plus R. It is coming 0.9091. So 770 multiplied by this one. Either you can calculate in this way discount factor, or as I told you, 770 divided by 1 plus R raised to power 1, 968 1 plus R raised to power 2, 1331 divided by 1 plus R raised to power 3. So you are getting, finally you can get this amount. So first year 700, 800 and 1000. So totally we are getting 2500. 7 plus 800, 1500 plus 1000, and initially you have invested 2200. So bracket I have taken here, bracket means minus, तो माइनस बिगिनिंग का अमाउंट हम डिडक्ट कर रहे हैं. सो हियर एनपीबी इज कमिंग पॉजिटिव 300 एनपीबी इज कमिंग. So 300 is positive is there, so that is, it means this project having positive NPV. So this project will be if single project or you can say independent project, then this project will be accepted. There's also example number 2. In this case, 1,80,000 UK pound is invested, and every year 50,000 will be cash flow, will be realized, and here the discounting rate is 13%. So here 180 we have taken is negative amount, which means that you have to subtract. You are investing, this is going from your pocket, and 50,000 you will get for next 6 years. And discounting factor, I told you how to get discounting factor, 1 upon 1 plus r raised to power 1. Then second year 1 plus 1 upon 1 plus r raised to power 2. Similarly for third year 1 upon 1 plus r raised to power 3. Similarly 1 upon 1 plus r raised to power 4, and so on. So this we are taking. Then this we are going to multiply 50,000 with this one, and we are getting, this is the present value of the future cash flow. So basically 44,000, 39,000, 34,000, 30,000, 27,000, 24,000, and 180 will be subtracted. So finally you are getting 19,850. 19,850 is your positive NPV. Again, project may be accepted if this project is related to the project is independent project. This another example that you can see. We are taking advantages and disadvantages of this method. Advantages we are taking here. This method is take into account all the cash flow. First one. Second, we are taking here, this method discount future cash flows to obtain present value. This method helps in maximization of shareholders value. Basically, net present value method is one of the ideal method, as we have taken earlier. Ideal method में क्या क्या होना चाहिए? That method must take into account all cash flows, must discount future money with appropriate discount rate, and third we are taking here, must be able to enhance shareholders value. So this method is going to give all such benefits. Disadvantages we are taking here. It is very difficult to estimate future cash flows. Second, here we are talking about discount rate. What will be discount rate? It is not mentioned in the NPV method. Discount rate, what will be discount rate? It is another demerit of this method is there, and this method is using cash flow. Again, cash flow are not easily available from the accounting books. The last method we are taking here, internal rate of return. Internal rate of return is that rate of return which is internally calculated by hit and trial method, and it is the rate where NPV is equal to 0. NPV we have already taken, and NPV we have taken, previous method we have taken NPV. So here basically we have to find out R. R means discounting rate, or you can say required rate of return. R is discounting rate. Here required rate of return will not be given to you. Required rate of return you have to calculate. Internal rate of return is that rate of return which is calculated by hit and trial method, and where NPV is equal to 0. So here we have to go ahead by hypothetical discount rate, and we have to try until we obtain NPV is equal to 0. So basically in this method we are taking here, for example, I am going with 10% rate and NPV is coming positive, and we are interested NPV is equal to 0. I have assumed that internal rate of return is 10%. I have calculated NPV. NPV is coming positive. It means I need to further discount. I am taking another higher rate. Another higher rate means 15%, and I am calculating again NPV. NPV is coming positive. So what I need to do, again I have to increase discount rate. I am trying with 16% and NPV is still positive. Then I am trying with 17%, NPV is coming negative. So at 16% it was positive, at 17% it is negative. So between 16 and 17% NPV will be 0. So then this formula you have to apply. Here L stand for lower rate, H stand for higher rate. So lower rate is your 16%, higher rate is 17%. You have to ignore 10% rate, 15% rate. Immediate lower rate you have to take, not 15% you have to take. Immediate lower rate is 16%. 16% you have to take plus NL. NL stand for NPV at lower rate of interest into H minus L, higher rate minus lower rate, divided by NL. NL stand for NPV with lower rate minus NH, NPV with higher rate. So you will be able to find out exact internal rate of return. Here I would like to take the same example which I have taken, first example I have taken for the NPV. First I will take example, then I will tell you about the advantages and disadvantages of internal rate of return. So you have already taken one question, that is in the case of NPV. So 2200 you are investing, 770 you will get at the end of first year, 968 you will get at the end of second year, and 1331 you will get at the end of third year. So after discounting with, now earlier we tried by 10% and your NPV was coming 300. Since your 300 was positive amount, so I assumed IRR 15% and I try to discount future cash flows. Ultimately I am getting 76.62, again the positive amount of NPV. Still this amount is positive. So what I need to do, I have to increase another higher rate. Now I am taking 16% rate, and after taking 16% rate, my NPV is still positive 36.01. So I have to take another higher rate. I am taking 17%. After taking 17%, my NPV is coming in negative. This I have written in bracket, it means negative. Now I am putting same formula. I have taken formula lower rate. Immediate lower rate is equal to 16 plus NPV with lower rate. NPV with lower rate is 36.01. That I have taken here. Then we are taking NPV with lower rate, NPV with the lower rate 36.01 minus NPV with higher rate. So here minus plus will be there, 36.01 plus 4.86 will be added, so 40.87, and your internal rate of return will come 16.88. Now what are the advantages and disadvantages? Advantages we can take here, this method take into account time value of money. This method uses cost of capital. That's another method, another advantage. This method take into consideration all the cash flows. But as regard to disadvantage, this method is more complicated as compared to other methods. Again, question arises how to what will be opportunity cost, and so on. That is again question is there, just like NPV method. So these are the disadvantages of this method. But here I would like to tell you that I have not told you how to accept or reject project with internal rate of return method. Under the NPV method, we accept the project if NPV is positive for independent project. And in the case of mutually exclusive projects, we accept the project which will have highest NPV. That I am telling about the NPV के केस में, सिंगल प्रोजेक्ट के केस में, इंडिपेंडेंट प्रोजेक्ट के केस में जिसकी NPV पॉजिटिव होगी, प्रोजेक्ट विल बी एक्सेप्टेड. But in the case of mutually exclusive, the project with highest NPV will be accepted. Under the internal rate of return, we have to opt another criteria. We have to compare internal rate of return with cost of capital. Internal rate of return will be compared with cost of capital. If internal rate of return is greater than cost of capital, yes, project will be accepted. that I'm talking about independent project. But under the mutually exclusive project, the project which will have highest IRR, internal rate of return, that project will be accepted. It is not mentioned in the slides, but I have explained how to accept or reject project. This example we have already covered. Okay, one more method is there, that's profitability index. Profitability index is nothing but similar to NPV. In the case of NPV, we subtract present value of cash flows minus present value of cash outflow, but in the case of profitability index, we divide. So present value of all benefits, present value of cash inflows divided by present value of cash outflow. In the case of NPV, we subtract present value of cash inflows minus present value of cash outflow, but here what we do, we divide, so that it will either less than 1, greater than 1 may be there. If project is greater than 1, it means benefits ज़्यादा हैं, cost कम है, project must be accepted. And the project which will have highest profitability index, that will be accepted. Advantages and disadvantages are similar to earlier techniques. That's all for capital budgeting, and we'll take next this one. Next topic we'll take that will related to the dividend policy.